Yep.
It was,
Operator
user
error.
error.
Operator error.
Sorry, I said that about the president. That wasn't good.
Boy, I think we have to have an emergency.
can-
We need an emergency
We can do it
meeting.
first.
Oh, okay. Welcome, everyone. We're calling our April board meeting to order. Would you please stand for the pledge? Slight adjustments. Again, welcome all. At this time, we have our superintendent comments, so I'm turning this over to Dr. Seifert.
Thank you, Dr. Towers. A little bit of a light crowd tonight, but that's all right. Good to see you all. We're glad I think Chris, they're watching from home though, right?
Millions.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett, for a little bit of a laugh there. We do welcome you to tonight's Board of Education meeting. We're glad you have joined us. It's been an exciting week with the eclipse on Monday. Everybody enjoyed the eclipse?
It was
Yeah,
great.
the show was awesome. And we just want to thank our curriculum department, headed by Dr. Draper and his fine group that really worked hard to make sure that all of our student staff had the correct glasses and safely could view the eclipse at home or wherever they were. And it was just a great show and exciting time for all of us. Also on Monday, we had the Jefferson Love Awards, and we had a couple board members with us, so we thank you for that. And the Love Awards is always just a wonderful, unique way to celebrate students being kind, serving others, and really just showing love towards others. It's just awesome. We want to thank We Love St. Charles for a great partnership with that as well. We want to say congratulations are in order for our newly elected board members. I want to congratulate Mrs. Heidi Sigma and also Mrs. Ellen Zare. Let's give them a hand. We look forward to continuing to work with both of you as our leadership team continues forward. We are thrilled to have both Heidi and Ellen continue to serve on the board. We also would like to do a shout out to and thank our other candidate for running as well. Strong school districts start with strong leadership, and we are grateful for community members who are willing to lead and serve. And we thank you for all who ran and also were part of the election. It's the middle of April, and that means the end of the school year is almost here. We're gearing up for standardized testing, and we have a lot of work to still get to, but it's hard to believe that we're down to the last stretch of school. It's getting pretty excited, progressing towards the end of the year and also graduation. Spring activity sports season is in full swing, and I've had a great time to get out on the golf course. Our both High and West are having great seasons, but that West golf team is pretty darn good if you want to get out and see some good golf. I don't know if I should be upset with the young men because they can play golf like that or support them or a little bit of both, but I couldn't even be on the golf course with them the way they play. They just an excellent team. Both baseball teams are rock and rolling, soccer teams, track and field, tennis. It's awesome to see. We've, again, finished up last month or so with some awesome plays and musicals and orchestra concerts and choir concerts, you name it. Our kids are doing it, and they're just wonderfully talented. And we always say, go Pirates and go Warriors. We've worked hard to prepare for this meeting tonight. Some really important discussions and presentations. We'll have a policy change, second reading. We have a quick CSIP review for 3 of our areas. Election results, obviously, and board organizational meeting will take place. We have a consent agenda, MSBA delegate selection as well. Hardin Middle School construction project bid proposal, preliminary tax rate, program review of the financial planning investment of surplus funds, and also the district financial report. So a lot of good things to get to. Just want to continue to encourage everybody to keep going strong in the midst of a very productive 23-24 school year. And looking forward to tonight's meeting. Thank you, Dr. Towers.
Thank you. Item 3.04 are board communications, and we have none. Item 3.05 are audience comments. And- And you're about to, I'm moving too fast. Thank you.
Yes. All regular and special meetings of the board shall be open to the public. Since the board desires to be a good listener and be responsive to the community, persons desiring to address the board may do so during the time so allotted on the agenda and according to established procedures. During the audience portion of each board meeting, patrons are invited by the president to speak for or against any proposal on the tentative agenda or on any other school's concern. The individual is asked to identify him or herself, limit comments to a few minutes, and avoid discussing personalities. The president reserves the right to limit the number of presentations and/or length of comments. At the discretion of the president, patrons may be recognized at other times during the board meeting. The board is very interested in audience comments. According to board policy, members cannot respond during the actual meeting. The board will listen to audience comments. If necessary, additional follow-up will occur through district administrators.
Good evening, members of the board, central office, and St. Charles community. My name is Brendan Kearns. I'm the president of the St. Charles Education Association, the exclusive bargaining organization for certified employees and nurses in the school district. I'd like to open by congratulating Heidi Sikma and Ellen Zaire, our two incumbent board members who won re-election. Thank you for your hard work on behalf of students and staff, and we are excited to have you back. I would also like to extend congratulations to some of our recently recognized SCEA members. Sean Bippen at Jefferson and Allison Parrott at West won Outstanding Teacher for Elementary and Specialty Area respectively. And Casey Lober at Lewis and Clark won the Missouri ACTE Counseling and Career Development Professional Award. We're almost at the end of the year, and our teachers are working hard to make sure our students are at their best every day. EOCs and MAP are approaching, and this is the time for students and teachers to shine and show the growth and development they have made throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Item 3.06, do I have a motion to amend or adopt the agenda? I move we adopt the agenda. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item 4.01 under old business. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our March 14th meeting?
I move to approve the minutes from March 14th meeting.
Do I have a second? I second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That passes. Item 4.02, this is our second reading for the policy changes. We did discuss them last month. Is there any new discussion or comments on these? Then do I have a motion to approve the policies as presented, or do you want to list them all?
I move to approve the policies, I'm not going to say them all, those policies.
presented.
As presented.
I second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item 4.03, this is our CSIP review. So,
CSIP review. All right, I'll start. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. So our CSIP, for those of you who don't know, our CSIP is the district's strategic plan, which is a 5-year plan that's written with goals to move the district forward. We present, as a CO team, we present our CSIP twice a year. So earlier this year, you heard from Dr. Seifert and Dr. Lewis. They presented on governance and highly qualified staff. And then tonight, you get the three of us. We will be talking about student performance, parent and community involvement, and then facility support and instructional resources. So Chris, if you could, let's jump to page 6.
And as we're getting situated for this, I just want to remind everybody, this is just a quick review. A lot of the things that you'll hear tonight, you've already heard really in some presentations, Julie's presentation last month. So a lot of this will be redundant information, but it's important for us. It's actually a check the box off type of situation with DESE that we have to make sure that we review. The good news is our CSIP goals are embedded in everything we do. And so every time you have a presentation, you're seeing CSIP goals. So
Yes.
this should be a quick little review.
And these are really just updates. As Dr. Seifert said, you know, we are at the end of our current CSIP. So a lot of these goals we have been working on, and so you've been hearing about these in various presentations over the years. But when it comes to student performance, we had 4 objectives, which was increasing student achievement, a systemic approach to intervention and enrichment, highly qualified professional development and research-based best practices, and then trauma-informed schools and social emotional needs. As you know, we talk a lot about our big rocks, and so that came as a result of the district strategic plan. So when we jump into that first objective, which was increasing student achievement, just some things that we've done over the years, and in particular this year, we have a district paid letters cohort. So letters is our science of reading. And so we have 33 teachers who are participating in level 1 certification for letters. We have implemented reading success plans this year for grades kindergarten through 5th grade. And this is for any student who is reading 1 grade level or below. That did come from the state. That is a state mandate that's part of the Missouri Read, Lead, Exceed initiative. We have also this year implemented foundations at early childhood. So we now have alignment pre-K through 4 with our ELA curriculum. We are currently rewriting our K through 6 ELA curriculum, which will align with the science of reading. We have adopted iReady for K through 6th grade in math and ELA. And as you know, that replaced Galileo for them. So that is their benchmarking and diagnostic tool at the elementary level. We've also restructured the curriculum writing process, really giving our teachers in the core classes, those core areas, more time to develop curriculum, spend some time researching, and making sure that our curriculum is aligned to the Missouri Learning Standards. We have a K-12 advisory committee for our core content areas. My team, my CNI team, we do instructional rounds or learning walks with building leadership teams, and we debrief what we see in the buildings. We have expanded career and technical education programming at Lewis and Clark and at CAPS. You've heard that we are looking at the possibility of adding dentistry to Lewis and Clark for next year. We have added instructional coaches at all levels throughout the district. We do utilize our title funds, as you saw, I believe that was last month's presentation. You saw us talking about our title funds and how we use those and our ESSER funds to hire academic support teachers in the areas of math and reading. And we do know those ESSER funds are going away after this year. And then we have restructured the Success Campus to provide both full and half-time day options for students. That second goal under student performance was a systemic approach to intervention and enrichment. I think one of the things that sets our district out from a lot of districts is that we strategically build in intervention time daily into all of our schedules. All of our schools have time set aside for intervention, whether that be at the high school level, at Hardin, they have the academic labs. At the elementary schools, they have time for intervention. So that gives students an opportunity to get specific help that they need in areas where they might need a little growth. We do have RTI specialists, title reading teachers, and math support teachers at our various levels, especially at the lower levels. We have adopted district-wide PBIS, and we are in the full implementation of that district-wide. We do have a universal screener, which has increased our gifted numbers tremendously, especially at the elementary level. And then we do provide summer school for K through 12th, and this year we will be providing summer school at the JJC. So that is objective number 2. Objective 3 is highly qualified professional development. And as you know, in September, we always present to you a professional development plan that highlights all of the things that we plan on, all of the sessions that we plan on having throughout the year. And that really gets started this summer. We'll start this summer with various PD sessions for our teachers to be able to participate in and book studies. Every August, we welcome our new teachers with a 3-day new teacher orientation. This past summer, we did revise that a little. We did 2 full days at St. Charles West, and then we gave them a full day to be in their buildings working with their mentors. We also have monthly new teacher meetings where they get together with their peers, and it's specific professional development that's geared to help brand new teachers. As I talked about summer workshops, you all are aware of our full-day professional development day that usually happens in October for our certified and support staff. We do allocate funds at the building level for professional development, and they use those funds on the monthly early release days. And then we do offer continuing education credits. These are for teachers to be able to earn additional graduation credits from local universities. And then lastly, for me, with student performance, we have trauma-informed schools and social emotional needs. We have building care teams that are set up throughout the district. We have district-wide student needs committee. Our admin do receive annual mental health first aid training. We do have partnerships with many agencies to address social emotional needs of students. I talked about we have a district PBIS leadership team. We have trauma-informed training district-wide, and we do have a student mentor program for our new students. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to, oh, I'm sorry. No, I do have one more slide. I'm sorry. Ongoing needs. So the things that we want to continue looking at and continue developing here in the district, of course, we want to continue working to increase our attendance rate. We've seen since COVID that attendance has dropped just nationwide, and that's no different for us here in City of St. Charles School District. We want to continue pushing that graduation rate. We did see an increase last year, but we are always aiming for higher. We really want to get over that 90% hump. Love to get to 100% of our graduates. We do know that we need to revisit the graduation credits. We've had lots of conversations about the amount of graduation credits that it takes in our district to graduate. Of course, we want to continue to look at those transition years. We have lots of transitions in our district. So how are we supporting students who transition from 4th to 5th, from 6th to 7th, and then from 8th to 9th? We are looking at maximizing that daily schedule at Jefferson and Hardin to align with state requirements. Jefferson has been looking at their schedule, and they will be revising their schedule next school year. We will continue working to strengthen our academic and behavior Tier 2 and Tier 3 programming. We want to make sure we strengthen our K-12 alignment across all content areas. We have done a great job of now getting, when we rewrite curriculum, we are having our cores write together. Before it was K through 6 wrote 1 year, 7 through 12 write 1 year. Now we have K-12 writing together. And yesterday in our meeting with ECC, we even talked about bringing ECC on board to write with those areas. So we would have ECC, ELA writing through 12th grade to see full alignment of our curriculum. And then we will continue with the full implementation of PBIS.
All right, so the area that I am presenting tonight is parents and community involvement. 4 key objectives there when we were doing the plan 5 years ago was centralized, standardized method of communication, systematic, proactive in supporting families, engaging all families, and building intentional partnerships with the community. So that first goal regarding centralized method of communication, we started the kind of 5-year plan with an advisory board with community leaders and members of the, members of the district, parents, where we researched, evaluated, and talked about ways to improve processes and methods for communication. So a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about actually came out of that advisory board. The district utilizes social media with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Peach Jar to highlight important items as they occur, and those are typically manned by our one and only Chris Bennett. SMORE is used to send newsletters to all staff and families twice a month. Important dates and timelines for open houses, class schedules, registrations, teacher assignments, and et cetera are being developed at the district level. So we know that we have a lot of families who might have kids at elementary, intermediate, middle, and high. And so we've really recognized at the beginning of this 5-year plan that creates problems when we have open houses all on the same day, or we have parent-teacher conferences and things like that, where we aren't giving them a lot of options. So we've really been working on that. Schools are using student information system. It went from Tyler to now Power School. Class Dojo, Google Classroom, to communicate school and class information. The second area we looked at was systematic, proactive in supporting families. So some of the things we do there, community resources are linked to our school district website. In many of the different areas that you would look on the website, you might see a lot of resources linked for families. Family Festival prior to school starting just keeps getting better and better, thanks to Miss Kelly Pendleton over there. Centralized enrollment began the 2022-2023 school year in his house here at his central office. And then all the enrollment forms are now online and they're in multiple languages. That was one thing that came out of our advisory committee, was that we thought we were doing well by communicating with our ELL families, but maybe we weren't. So we found a lot of new ways to be able to communicate through our enrollment forms, through our website being able to be translated, through people like Susie Mills, who is our liaison with families, things like that. And that was our last one there, parent liaison to help non-English speaking families. And she's so busy. She's like super busy. We've even had to scale back some things that, because she's super busy. The third thing was engaging all families. So we have school curriculum nights, parent university, parents as teachers expanded in the 2022-23 school year so that we can accommodate a lot more families. I want to say Earl and Jason were at our meeting yesterday, almost doubled, I think, from the year before. Volunteer opportunities for parents and community members, speaker series, senior parent night at the high school, and college career fairs at the high schools. And then the last area was building intentional partnerships with the community. So one of the most exciting things we've been talking about is the in-district student clinic in partnership with Compass Health is in the works to open this summer, right, Mr. Shields? And again, some of this is old stuff we've done in the last 5 years, but we, during COVID, which seems like it was 5 years ago, we had the on-site antigen testing, and we really worked with the Department of Health in working through that situation. Care to Learn, We Love St. Charles, we still have very strong partnerships with those organizations. Backpack programs with local churches. We've added resources for parents of students with disabilities on the district website. And Aspen has also become another website that our staff members can use for resources. So some of the ongoing needs we still continue to work on are reviewing and planning for continuous improvement and standardized methods of communication district-wide. Of course, there's always room for improvement with communication. Identifying ways to improve standardized timelines with parent communication and involvement in activities. Again, open houses, parent-teacher conferences, et cetera. So we've made a lot of strides, but it's not perfect. Developing district-wide guidelines for providing effective communication to families, staff, and students. Partnering with community resources to implement programs to make resources easily accessible to staff, parents, and students. And continued work with Compass to finish off that student clinic, so it's up and running. I'll give it to Jeremy.
All right, I have facility support and instructional resources. Key objectives for this is providing excellent facilities and support services for the district, ensuring safety and security for all stakeholders, providing high-quality instructional resources for students, teachers, and families, and then maintaining and enhancing district technology resources. Substantial highlights, we have Brightly Software Asset Operations Management Tool available to us for predictor and preventative maintenance. That basically helps us cycle through the facilities that we have and when we need to start developing those replacement cycles for those areas. It's very difficult using a software like that, is what I'm coming to find, is just because there's no true predictor. You know, it's only as good as what the equipment was that was developed at that time. So it can change very quickly on us. So. We obviously monitor that, so I think at times we are the best predictor rather than reliance on software, but Nonetheless, we do have it, and we are aware of it, and certainly help us in bond planning for future needs if we so desire. That's a direction we want to go. Also, green initiatives, as you guys are aware, we had the Energy Efficiency Award presented by Ameren. One of the things you'll see with us in our finances as a district is our energy use, as far as expenditures, is flatlined for the last 5 years. When inflation has gotten very, very high, our energy use, our payments out have been pretty flat for the last 5 years, and we attribute that to all of the work that's been done throughout the last 5 years. So that's been very, very big positive. Lewis and Clark Trade Center, development of the new subdivision and plotting out that ground at Newfoundland Place. That's still continuing on, and there's a lot of conversation that occurs with a neighbor or two over in that subdivision that are heavily involved. And our Lewis and Clark team does a very nice job with that. So I think we have our third house that's being finished right now. We hope to bring that to you, obviously, for sale in June, by the end of the summer at the very latest. That's our goal. Bond construction progression has followed CSIP goals. Elevators, access for all, enhanced instructional spaces, library media center improvements, and then the unpopular ones because, you know, who really wants to go out and say, well, we replaced a roof today, or we provided better HVAC. Not popular, but much, much needed, and that's certainly on our radar for the future, especially roofing needs. Updated kitchen space at Lincoln with projected kitchen space renovations at Hardin. And then bond spending is managed and communicated to determine future planning. Currently spending again at Knoll, Lincoln, and projected to spend at Hardin Middle School. We have GPS system installed on transportation. I have on here that we're going to go live at the start of 24-25 with that. Our goal now, after meeting again with the team this past Tuesday, they would prefer to push that back until January and just do an internal operations first for that first semester and then go live in second semester. So probably got a little too ahead of myself on that line there. So we would be looking at a January start date for that. And again, that provides the GPS offering for parents. Safe Defend in almost every single classroom. We're still working on Lincoln, but that will be finished this summer with the construction that's going on there. We basically had to move the server in order to rewire specific classrooms in order to accommodate that install. Raptor installed in every and used in every building. Safety grant, we just got finished with that for the safety laminate in the front foyer areas of each building. That was provided by the state of Missouri. And then 4E training offered to all district employees along with lead testing and remediation is on schedule for the state statute of August. And we're going to be just fine with meeting that. We're on the very, very tail end of making sure that the steps provided by the water, the company that tested the water, are in fact in place. So to remind you on that, we tested, they gave us what facilities were above the 5 parts per billion. Federal government's 15 parts per billion, the state of Missouri's 5. And then we just follow those steps and ask them to come back and retest those areas before we put them back into the drinking capacity again.
We also have 4E training for students.
That's correct. So the other piece we have on here, curriculum and technology professional development for new staff during new teacher orientation. We follow a replacement schedule for all of our technology, one-to-one devices for students, Jefferson on up through 12th grade. Staff device replacement schedule is in place and budgeted by the technology department, and we do have a disaster recovery center, one of the few in this region, to where if we were to have an attack on any of our technology, any of our cyberware, that we can back that up. We do have a backup for that over at 3800. So that's pretty rare to us. It was developed in case any of our neighboring school districts wanted to tie into it for a small fee. We have not had anyone decide to do that yet, though. Bus fleet replacement schedule, we're currently on year 7. We cannot go longer than 10 years on any of our buses per state guidelines. So we are nearing the end of that. That will be something that is something we're paying attention to, because obviously 7 years ago, what has happened in that market has gotten very, very expensive. So we know that's going to be a significant expense back to the district when we go on to that. If you talk to the bus drivers, they will demand AC. We'll see if it fits into the budget. CSIP review, right? Bond projects construction at Hardin, focus on community vendors interested in providing in-kind donations and labor materials. That doesn't happen very often, but that was in CSIP, so it is still an ongoing need for us. Increased communication, collaboration with emergency personnel to enhance safety and security measures. We feel like we are very strong with our community partners on that, specifically our fire officials, who we are pretty much on a first-name basis with, and along with our police department. They do a very nice job for us and try to do a lot of preventative measures for us. Continued refining education procedural changes to address safety and security. We're always looking at that. And obviously, we get a lot of public input to address that as well. And then building and department safety committees to focus on staff injuries. That's something that, if you've not heard this name, Mrs. Krista Gurley has put together a safety committee for us, led by a member from Music, the School Insurance Consortium, where we review all of the staff and student injuries to date, and we see if there are any trends that we need to address within the district. And that is it for my review.
Thank you all. Is there any discussion?
I said two quick questions. Jeremy, you talked about the buses. When would we have to start, I know with like production and stuff like that, when would you have to start like gauging that or really pursuing it, I guess?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Yeah. We'll start putting that on RFP, meeting with vendors in about a year and a half, and they'll be ready within that time frame.
Gotcha. And then Earl, I had one question. You said we need to revisit the graduation credits. What were you meaning by
Yeah,
that?
so right now, there's been a lot of discussion about graduation credits in our district. We require 28 credits to graduate. The state of Missouri is 24. And so a lot of people have had questions about why are we so high. And so when you look at it, we are high because we require extra electives, not necessarily core classes, but we require students to take extra electives. And so discussion is that still necessary for our district to continue to have those 28 credits, or should we go down to the state's level at 24?
I like the higher bar. I think it's good.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Do I have a motion to approve the CSIP review? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Okay, item 5.01. Do I have a motion to certify the election results from April 2nd?
I move to certify the election results from April 2nd.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Perfect timing. All right, item 5.02 is the dissolution of the board. Missouri law requires the Board of Education to elect new officers each year in April. Board officers elected during the reorganization portion of tonight's meeting will serve until April of 2025. To accomplish this, the board will adjourn sine die after allowing the currently seated board to complete all scheduled old business. This will ensure that new board members are not asked to vote on issues for which they have not been fully prepared. By adjourning sine die or without day, the board, as it currently exists, will be adjourned for the last time. During this adjournment, newly elected board members will be administered the oath of office by the current board secretary, thereby excusing retiring board members. We have no one being excused. A new president of the Board of Education, as well as other board officers, must be then elected. While adjourned sine die, the secretary of the board or his appointee will chair the first portion of the meeting. The chair will take nominations for the office of president. All nominations will then be voted on in the order received. Should any nominee receive votes from a majority of the board, the election process will cease, and that person will be seated as president. The person elected president will then continue the organizational meeting and the remaining officers will be elected. After all officers have been elected, the new board will reconvene the regular meeting and begin scheduled new business. Although this process may require a little additional time to implement, this procedure will provide for an orderly transition between the existing and newly elected Board of Education. So we are ready for item 6.01. We do have to vote, I'm sorry. I need a motion to dissolve the 23-24 school board.
I move to
Noted.
dissolve the 23-24 school board in order to reorganize.
Thank you. Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All right, we are dissolved. Now, item 6.01.
This is the point I like to tell you, I don't have a boss right now.
Wow,
I'm feeling free, Sorry. That was.
Freedom.
Just a little attempt at humor.
yeah, but any newly elected boss is going to remember that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for putting me in my place.
Well, anyway, so item 6.01, this is the oath of office. Kelly,
I will give it to the new members, yes. Heidi and Ellen, if you want to repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do
solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of school director in and for the school district of the city of St. Charles,
the
the
duties of school director in and for the school district of the city of St. Charles,
county of St. Charles,
County of St. Charles,
state of Missouri, to the best of my ability according to the law.
State of Missouri, to the best of my ability, according to the law.
congratulations. Okay. Item 6.02, this is the first part of the election, and it's turned over to the board secretary for nominations for president of the board.
First election this evening will be for the office of president of the board. Nominations are now open for president.
I nominate Dr. Donna Towers.
Donna Towers is nominated. Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing no further nominations, nominations are closed. We will now proceed to the election. The candidate for president is Dr. Donna Towers. The election will be conducted by roll call. We will first vote on the first person, which is Donna Towers, nominated. So please respond to the roll call after your name is called. Gibson. Hewitt.
Aye.
Sigma. Towers.
Aye.
O'Hearn. O'Mara.
Aye.
And Zare.
Aye.
The results of the vote is as follows. There were 7 votes in favor of Dr. Donna Towers, and there were 0 opposed. Dr. Donna Towers has received a majority of the vote cast and is declared an elected president. I now relinquish the chair to our newly elected president, Dr. Donna Towers, to take back over the meeting.
Thank you. Well done. We're now ready to elect a vice president. Do I have nominations for vice president?
I nominate Heidi Sigma.
Are there any other nominations? All right, Heidi Sigma is now nominated. Hearing no further nominations, the nominations are now closed. We'll now proceed to the election. The candidate for vice president, Heidi Sigma, will be conducted by roll call vote.
Gibson. Aye. Hewitt.
Aye.
Sigma.
Aye.
Towers.
Aye.
O'Hearn. O'Mara.
Aye.
and Zare.
Aye.
So I believe from the secretary, we had 7 aye votes and no votes. So our newly elected vice president is Heidi Sidmer. Congratulations. And now we have all of our officers in place for our board. I have opened. We're now ready for the item 7.01. This is our consent agenda. For efficiency, the school board utilizes a consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda are routine in nature or are among the many decisions that the board has already determined are in the domain of the administration. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I motion we approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Item 9.01, this is our nominee for our MSBA delegate, but Ellen, did you want to speak to that first?
Yes, I would like to describe the duties of the MSBA delegate for those who don't know or who have a misunderstanding. The word delegate implies I have, the MSBA delegate has a vote in the matters that are brought up. And we vote at a delegate assembly, and I've had the opportunity to vote twice. You have to be present to vote at a conference. And what the vote is on is matters that are brought by the various school boards to the delegates, the delegate assembly. For example, this January, did we go to the conference? November. November, oh, okay.
You had your
knee surgery. Yeah, okay. We had 7 proposals to vote on, and I'll read you a sample proposal. The location of candidate filing. MSBA opposes legislation that would require school board filing to occur at any location other than the district's central office. Some school boards have the election authority as their filing location. And we could do that, but we choose to have Kelly do the filing. It requires her to be at the district office during Christmas break. But, okay, then we voted on this proposal. There were about 100 people, 100 in the room, and this proposal passed. So the MSBA delegate also is supposed to let the board know of legislation that could possibly harm the school district, but our superintendent does a very good job of keeping us updated, so I don't think we require that time. So that, in a nutshell, is an explanation of what the MSBA delegate does.
That's a good summary of it. Thank you, Ellen. So at this time, we do need to have a nominee for our MSBA delegate. Would anyone like to?
I nominate Ellen Zare.
Is there a second?
I second.
Ellen, would you be willing to?
Yes, I will serve.
Do I have a motion to elect Ellen Zare as our MSBA delegate?
I'll make the motion to elect Ellen.
Second?
I second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Ellen. And we need an alternate MSBA delegate. Do I have a nomination?
I nominate Karen O'Hearn.
Thank you. So do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to elect Karen O'Hearn as an alternate MSBA delegate?
I move to elect Karen as the MSBA alternate delegate.
A second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 9.03, this is the Hardin Middle School construction project.
We've been talking for a little bit about Hardin, and it's a significant need for a demolition and renovation of the northeast portion of that building. If you were around, you might remember there's a retaining wall in between Hardin and Blackhurst. That retaining wall was put in 20 years ago, and within 10 years, it had to be replaced due to ground pushing that retaining wall and that ground giving way going towards Blackhurst. Similarly, with that ground and the retaining wall that's on that northeast portion, we see some of that happening to a triangular piece that comes off of that building. So this is an area that I know has had some attention for some time, but with this bond issue and seeing how significantly that portion has degraded just over the last 5 years alone, we think it's very beneficial for us now to go through with this process and to demo that work and rebuild it correctly to where it will last a substantial portion of time, just like this newest retaining wall will do so. So we would be eliminating nearly, I think it's 1,800 to 2,000 square feet worth of space, but we would be adding back about 5,000 square feet, 5,500 square feet, which would require a storm shelter design based on how the codes are written. It would be a two-floor addition, and it would have an elevator included inside of that addition as well. Primary function would be art classroom, project lead the way classroom, a specialized classroom, and then a full-size classroom as well. It would require us to take a current science classroom, and because of how that triangular piece comes out, it does impact a portion of that exterior wall. So we'll have to do the contractor would have to do some brickwork in that area as well. So that's primarily what we're looking to build. It will take away about 4 parking spaces in the roundabout. That's near the gymnasium. That's all been approved by the city to go ahead and go through with that. We have to make sure that we have adequate enough parking for Blackhurst and for Hardin on that site. So they have approved that prior to construction beginning, because we certainly didn't want that to impact planning. In addition to that piece at Hardin, we have new flooring. We do have to do that in 2 phases. If you've heard anyone that has been through Hardin, they will tell you, when is that flooring getting replaced? We went ahead and put that as an alternate on there. I believe that was about $450,000. We cannot get that accomplished in one summer, and it would destroy operations in that building to try to do it when students are in session. So that's a part of it. The kitchen demolition and renovation is also on it to the tune of about $1.4 million. That's all paid for with food service money that we've been reserving for this for quite some time with state approval. And then the other is a new window, just because there is one classroom. Once this space is designed, that would not receive any natural light. It would be extremely dark classroom based on how it currently is built that we would like to add. That's about a $13,000 cost to add that window to that space to provide some natural lighting to a standard classroom. So that being said, we did have a lot of interest in this project by contractors. I think there were 9 that displayed interest, 7 actually bid. If we look at the bidding results, you'll see that they are very, very close in numbers. So it was I won't say for my first time, but it was nice to see the numbers so close, at least from 6 of the bidders being very close together. Our architectural firm, BLDD, DHA, did bring in 2 of the contractors for about 25 questions, and also did some reference checking on that before they recommended Demean as the contractor of choice for this project.
What does it look like for the budget we had compared to the end number? Like when we did the bonds, did we have any idea of where we're gonna sit at?
For this project wasn't on the bond because it wasn't a known issue at that time. So we have decided that this is an extreme issue that we have to address now because we certainly won't have funding to do this after the bond.
Are there other ones that are gonna get bounced out because of it?
Yeah, there was one early on, the gymnasium project for Jefferson, St. Charles West, that was eliminated, unfortunately.
Is that,
And
go ahead.
that project, because we've allocated some of this to here, was determined to be too costly when that was taken off. That was about 2.5 years ago, when we saw supplies getting absolutely outrageous. And that project, they believed, was going to double, if not triple, in cost when that decision was determined. There were some local districts that were taking some heat at that time as well for their construction cost and their planning, so some fear was put in place for all of us around that issue.
Well, any of the, I have historic experience with the Blackhurst and Hardin loop around from picking up kids.
Oh, yeah.
Is this overall construction project gonna like help with that? Is it gonna make it worse? I know we're losing some parking spaces and expanding.
It will not help or hurt.
Status
It will,
work for the
it will
FBI?
not help Blackhurst at all.
Okay.
But and it won't hurt Blackhurst either, you know? But the only thing I could tell you would hurt on is those 4 spaces on a big event at Hardin or at Blackhurst, if they so use those spaces for that, you know, we're eliminating 4 parking spaces, so that would, but as far as day-to-day traffic, it would not.
Okay, so it's still just gonna be the wraparound?
Correct,
outside?
yeah.
Any project that was pushed down on the list or off of the list because of inflation, first of all, and then obviously COVID issues, and then obviously now we have the hard, those are projects that we want to see done at some point, right? So the next time we look at a bond issue, you know, we certainly will come back to those projects and look at it. So it's not something that we're saying no to forever, or just we have to prioritize and things that come up, so.
Yeah, typically, you know, when I've been on these bond committees, there's a committee developed, we prioritize, get a priority list, but we hope that the things that were not accomplished with the current bond are then accomplished with the next one, if we desire to go out for another bond after this one.
What's our risks if we don't do this project?
Currently, I do have a classroom space, a teacher's lounge space, a restroom shut down at Hardin not because the air quality was bad. I'm not a test reader of air quality. I want to make that very well known. Insurance has told me that. So I do not read the test. However, I listen to people who are scientists in this, and they tell me the air quality is fine. However, we do know with that separation of that portion of the wall, the exterior wall, that there has been water getting in. And we cannot determine for how long that water has gotten into that area. So out of a ton of precaution, we all, you know, feel like it's best just to close that off right now until we can get a better game plan moving forward for the safety of all.
When this is quadrant off and the elevator is eliminated, during that project, the elevator won't have access, how are we handling
We will still,
accessibility?
yeah, we'll still have an elevator, but it's the same one that's down by the gym. When this addition is added, we will have 2
Then
elevators
you'll
at
have-
Hardin.
Okay.
Yeah.
you're not-
We haven't had Demeen do any other projects for us yet either.
We have not. We do know that they do have storm shelter experience, storm shelter design experience.
Aspire was who did the Blackhurst project
Correct.
and their piece of it,
And they're doing Lincoln.
and they're doing Lincoln.
That's why we vetted.
What have they done around here?
That's why we vetted.
Demeen?
And we had some extra.
Who didn't know?
Yeah. I know that they, for sure, have had 2 experiences working with school districts, Rockwood being one, and the storm shelter design was in Bowling Green. Outside of that, commercially, I looked it up, but I cannot tell you from memory what the commercial experience looked like. I know there was some decent-sized square footage for commercial projects, but I can't give you a name because I just cannot remember off the top of my head.
But with the bids being, and he already said this, but with the bids being so tight, and we obviously know Aspire, we wanted to make sure we did some extra vetting with our architectural firm, getting, to meet in and having some conversations with them.
And from those questions, obviously, they feel comfortable enough to recommend them still.
Yeah, I know our architect spent a considerable amount of time on this just because the bids were so close. And they wanted to make sure with a new company that we didn't, they didn't recommend someone that would hurt us in the long run. So they feel like with their reference checking plus with the responses provided by Demean that this is they told me in their words, they feel very comfortable recommending them. They have no reservations.
Any other discussion? Do I have a motion to approve the Hardin Middle School construction project bid?
I make a motion to approve the Hardin Middle School construction project bid proposal as presented.
Do I have a second? A second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
I can't wait for the new floors, by the way.
Oh, my gosh.
Dr. Seifert has been in my ear about new floors for,
It is terrible.
we're
They
almost
are.
on 2 years now of a flooring relationship.
They- Item 9.04, the preliminary tax rate.
All right, so this has to be done every April and submitted to the county by April, or we do get a 20% reduction in tax rate penalty if the deadline is not met. So that's why we bring it to you all. The county uses the information in the preliminary just to send out the notices to property owners. It gives them an idea of what to expect in their taxes moving forward. It is non-binding, if you guys remember me using that term about 17 times, I think, last year. It is a non-binding agreement. We are not sold on this, but it is, again, used for assessment purposes. The second slide here, preliminary assessed values indicate a 1.8% increase in certification by the Board of Equalization that they meet in July, and it's finalized in August. Last year, that number was 15%. The next one, the assessed valuation has increased by 2% since last March. That number, I want to say, was like 17.5% last year. If you remember, property values, personal property especially, and real estate values were just going ridiculously crazy, so, which we're all aware of. If this is in the indicator, that's slowing down a bit, but there's still a little bit of an increase. Now, we're not seeing the increases that maybe some of the school districts that have a lot of new construction, especially residential construction going on, but it's still a slight increase in a non-assessed or non-real estate assessed year. So computations are based on the assessed values, the tax rates, and the consumer price index. All of those are put together to make a determination on what our tax rate will be. Right now, the consumer price index is higher. It's projected to be higher at 3.5% than our assessed valuation increases. And because of that, we will see a slight increase. If it was reversed, and it might flatline or even go a little bit lower, but we are going to see a slight increase in reassessment and in the tax rate. And if you see it down there, instead of being at 4.5578, we will be at 4.5648, so not even a cent higher, if this holds true. Typically, we're within like 0.5 of a cent. Typically, that's where we'll land. Now, if we see some differences within the assessment rates, if there's some radical new construction that happens, which don't have any indicator that that's going to happen, we would see that shift a little bit. But as of right now, I think we're pretty solid that this would be our tax rate when we bring it back to you all in September.
Do I have a motion to approve the 2024 preliminary tax rate? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Okay. I guess, Jeremy, we're still going, you still got the floor. We're doing item 10.01 is our program review for financial planning and surplus, of investment of surplus
I almost feel
funds.
ashamed that I have to speak again. I don't know why. I don't know why. I
And
feel like I'm
then Dan.
hogging the room.
I think it's lovely.
Yeah, we're.
Please continue.
Yeah, and
All right.
the next one too.
This is just a policy that was, it's been around since 1993, with some changes made to it in 2023 that we bring to the board every single year. It's just our investment policy. And the state has very specific guidelines for public entities and how they invest taxpayer dollars, and it follows the state guidelines. It's essentially what it does. We do make investments, and there's only two that we would invest with because they follow the state guidelines. That's MOSIP and MOCAT. This policy specifically is about operating funds. So last year, I think when we brought this to you, we had not been investing in the operating funds for quite some time. And when I get down to the financial report, I'll pull up an item for you that shows that we are investing our operating funds right now. And so I can go through that a little bit for you when we get to the financial report. But essentially, that's what the policy is written for. It's following the state guidelines for investment of operating funds.
Do we have a motion to approve the financial planning and investment of surplus funds program?
I move to approve the program review as presented.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. And hanging in there still with,
All right, and the last thing we have is the financial report. Chris, if you pull up the board report for us here and go to the year end for March, and the year for March 2024. And what you'll see here is our end of fund balance is respectable in comparison to what we were at last year. Our spending is higher, obviously, and that's primarily due to salary increases. But one of the things that I think is important for us, and I think we spoke about this a little bit last year, is the employee benefits. We are spending less in employee benefits than we did the previous years, which that doesn't change because our salaries are increasing, so that should typically increase as well, unless there is an insurance difference that we're seeing. So my bet, and I have not seen the most recent report because we have not been provided that yet. But that would tell me, as of right now, our claims are lower from July of 22 to June 30th of 23 than they were so far from this point this year. So that's good news. Hopefully that means our employees are healthier, but two, we're reversing that trend a little bit that we've been speaking about that has been hitting the district quite hard for some time, to the tune of $2 million plus a year of unexpected expenditures on insurance, which is not affordable, obviously. So we want that trend to reverse because we hope that means our employees are healthier. But secondly, we know that we can handle that financial trend if it's reversing. So we're hoping to see that continue to be in that direction. And if you would have looked up there last year under Fund 1 at 3535, it would have shown you like a $4.8 million under Fund 1, and Fund 2 was just right at $8.5 million at this time last year. So a pretty big difference there in that alone. So in all honesty, that difference is making up for the salary increases that were given this past year. And so we really hope, it's a guessing game, right? But we really hope that trend stays as firm as what it's been showing so far this year. And earliest projections in January show that trend went down significantly in January, so we hope February, March are going to show us the same. So we'll have our first quarterly update with that probably in May. And then outside of that, I wanted to show you the MOCAT monthly account statement. Chris, if you could pull that up for us. That's one of the operating funds that are invested. If you'll see here, it's in a liquid series. We can easily get that out. If we tell them before 11 a.m. on tomorrow, we can get all of this money out by tomorrow. And they will have it back in our bank account. After 11 a.m., it'll show up on Monday. What is interesting is we were able to have several people do a cash flow analysis for us basically how much cash do you need in the bank in this month, on this day, on this month. So that gave us the ability to know how much money we could invest without getting caught off guard, essentially. So we invested $30 million in January in this, and that's obviously diversified out through multiple areas. So right now, in revenue alone, and we're always looking for a new revenue without going back to the taxpayers. So in new revenue alone, we've gained $315,000 January, February, and March. So obviously, we're not going to continue that strength and return because we will be pulling that money out as the year progresses. But this is one way that we are finding that is a decent revenue source for us. So, and that's what that previous policy discussed. MOSIP, when you look at that one, that is where we've been investing our bond money safely. So I did want to make that a point to you all. Our Director of Business and Accounting has done a really nice job with this. It is.
Any comments on our financial report?
I think Jeremy's talked enough today. I move to approve the financial report as presented.
Do I have a second? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Do I have a motion to recess back to closed session?
I move.
I move to recess to closed session.
Do I have a second?
I second.
And a roll, that's a roll call vote, isn't it? Roll call. Or is it just, you know?
Gibson? Hewitt? Sigma? Towers?
Aye.
O'Hearn? O'Meara? Sarah?
Thank you all. We are adjourned.